this podcast.
Hi guys, and welcome once again to another superb episode on the Cast with Neye. Today's another exciting episode, and of course we have a guest. So he's an undergraduate from the Department of Mechanical Engineering, Federal University of Technology, Owerri. He's a software engineer at Patricia Technologies, a technical writer, program manager, and community builder. He's also a Microsoft Learn ambassador. Please let's welcome Osinachi Victor Chukwujamah. Osinachi, please can you say something to the house?
Hello, people. I'm honored to be on the Cast with Neye podcast, where great men have worked, and I'm excited to share my experiences today.
Thank you so much, Osinachi. So let's move on to what we have for today. As an undergraduate currently studying mechanical engineering, who loves software engineering, which are two broad fields. And I don't know which came before though, but what's your story? What's the story behind a mechanical engineering student who loves software engineering and all that is to it? You could have studied software engineering.
Okay, so how it all started, I fell in love with mechanical engineering at first. Back then in secondary school, I loved physics. I loved going beyond what was taught in the classroom to go explore futuristic engineering, basically, space travel, nuclear fusion, those sort of futuristic things. Then I got admission into FUTO as a mechanical engineering student, and from there, around that point, I was trying to define myself as a person, as a young person. So I started to explore my interests, and I had interest in building games, like from my childhood obsession with games. So this interest with building games led me to go explore the world of programming. And from there, I moved up from just an obsession with games to becoming a world-class software engineer. So that's basically my journey.
Okay, thank you so much, Osinachi. So you just started, from the love for physics and then having to want to build futuristics, what?
Yeah. Build futuristic technology and somehow moved on to an obsession for building games and applications.
Okay, so then why did you want to study, or why are you studying mechanical engineering, not software engineering?
Okay, so I didn't know much about software engineering before secondary school was over. So I already had mechanical engineering right in my mind right from time. And I wanted to build cool cars. That was everybody's dream. That was everybody's dream, or most boys' dream, to just build cool cars with mechanical engineering knowledge, not knowing that there's more to it. But that was just our naive way of conceiving the world and interpreting things.
Wow, so wonderful, Snatch. Thank you so much for answering that question. So moving on, what's the plan for the mechanical engineering, or for the mechanical engineer, or are we completely removing it from the picture?
Okay, so I believe that the dots will connect in the future. Software and mechanical engineering have thin lines where they meet. You can find software engineers building products for mechanical engineers, or building products for engineers in general. A software like AutoCAD was built by software engineers for other engineering fields like civil, mechanical, electrical. So different engineering fields use different softwares. There are also engineers that work predominantly with softwares, like engineers that do things like what do you call it again? Computational fluid dynamics. So these days they use software to run computational fluid dynamics. They use software to run finite element analysis. Also, all these things are highly dependent on software and engineering knowledge. So this is where they connect, and I'm actually very interested in these fields. But depending on how things go, because I've not made final decisions yet. So if I was going to make a choice after I graduate, I could go on for a master's in these exciting fields, or I could just leave everything and focus on becoming a world-class software engineer.
Wow. Wow, what a wonderful answer. Thank you so much, Osinachi, for answering that question. So let's move on. Now let's talk about your tech journey. But before we do that, was defining your path as a software engineer, was it very easy? Because a lot of people have issues defining what they want to do, or that journey through self-discovery has been like a walk in the park. I mean, so many people don't know or haven't gotten to discover themselves up till now. So defining yourself or getting to that point where you said, okay, I want to settle down and this is what I want to venture into, software engineering, was it that easy? And then what area in software engineering are you specialized in?
Right, so defining my path in software engineering was hard. Like I said earlier, I had an obsession with games. I wanted to build games. Then I found out that there's not really a gaming industry in Nigeria. What Nigerian gamers do is they play games made by big companies like, let's see, Epic Games or yeah, some other big companies, Gameloft. Yeah, so there's not really a gaming industry, so I can't really thrive as a game developer. So I decided to look into other fields. So now there are things like back-end development, front-end development, DevOps, and I've actually explored all these fields. But somehow I got an internship last year with eSettlement Limited as a front-end engineer intern. That's during the lockdown. I got that internship and I was a front-end engineer intern. So I felt like that was a turning point of things, because getting a front-end role meant that I'll probably keep getting front-end roles after that.
Yeah.
So that's really somehow just aligned me and defined my path. Usually people think front end is not very technical, because if you are a technical person you move to something like back end, but I found out that front end is actually technical and interesting. So that's how I defined my path and chose front end software engineering.
Wow, so that's to say that you're a software engineer but you specialize basically in front end.
Yeah.
Oh, very nice to know. So in your tech journey, or during your journey in tech, what were the outstanding struggles you faced or still probably facing, as a tech guy, and how did you manage it?
Okay, so in the early days of my journey, when I was just starting out, I didn't really have what we call struggles. It was more like experiences. So I started out coding in my school library. I didn't see it as a struggle, not that it was actually exciting, me going to the library every day that was actually after first semester of 100 level, going to the library every day because we were on holiday then. Every day going there to go learn something new about software or to write some basic code, Python code. I didn't see it as a struggle. I saw it as something I should actively explore. But later on, when I got my own computer, my own laptop, and started exploring, I started facing the normal struggles software engineers face: imposter syndrome, maybe lack of data, the fear that your data will finish one day and you will not be able to do anything, confusion, like not knowing what to do. So these are real struggles upcoming software engineers face. Yeah. And okay, my current struggles, I won't say I have what you call struggles per se, because I see them as goals or tasks. Okay, currently I want to explore, augmented reality. Okay, so I know I need a VR headset, so I set it as a goal to get this and use it to maybe develop VR experiences for the newly announced metaverse. Or the metaverse idea has been there, but so the point is that I don't see what I face anymore as struggles. I see them as things I should set as goals to achieve. Although I face the imposter syndrome like every other software engineer does sometimes, when you see beautiful achievements by some other people and you'll be like, what am I even doing with my life? But yeah, you can just move on with that and say maybe that person has invested more hours than you. But generally, you face less struggles if you don't see your struggles as struggles, but you see them as goals that you need to achieve. Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much. Then, speaking of the imposter syndrome, like you have already answered, or because I was about asking you that question. If you've ever questioned your growth, like, I'm not doing enough, I'm not where I'm supposed to be, I'm not where I ought to be. But, like, you have already answered that, because that's like the imposter syndrome that everybody deals with. You having that belief, or people having that belief outside that you are this and you are that, and you personally, you know that almost like I still have a long way to go, but like there's already a narrative outside that you're this software engineer, boss, this one CEO, this one, that one. But like within you, you're seeing yourself as that you're not doing so much. So what are people really seeing? Well, that's all good. So you had a way of, like balancing it or writing it up that maybe these people have actually invested, you understand, more time in order to get to where they actually are. Okay, so moving to the next question. Now, you contested for for mechanical engineering scholarship in your department in Futo. And you won the director of research. Well, so how does it feel, and how has the experience been so far?
Okay, so imagine as a director of research from the famed hot mechanical election was actually I felt distressed after the whole experience. It was sapping. It sapped most of my mental energy. I decided to be, let's say, creative with the whole thing. I even created a promotional video, or a video stating my competence, that sort of thing. But I felt like it's going to be a new experience. It's going to be a new experience being the technical lead of many people, being the person that will teach people or lead people to learn new things. So I decided to take on that role. But getting in there, it has been hard. It has been really hard. Balancing it with school, balancing it with work, balancing being persistent in the face of failures, even doing things without getting paid. Like it's fun sometimes, it's also painful, and sometimes you don't even get appreciated. Your HOD could tell you to come do this, and he doesn't even tell you thank you at the end. But you just have to know that you're doing this for yourself, and you're doing it for the development of people that would maybe in the future come and say thank you, you did this, you helped me see this path, and I'm very grateful for that. So it's more like a, let's say, delayed gratification, something that will yield fruits later in the future. But but it has been fun so far, and I'll soon be handing over to the next director of research. I trust that he will do a great job, and he or she will do a great job and move the department forward.
Wow. So if there's one thing I've learned or I gained from what he just said, is that in life, it's not everything that you do that you get paid for that's monetary. Like it could be other ways. So he was not always getting paid like in terms of money, but he now took it as, okay, no matter what, even if I'm not getting paid like monetary, as far as I am impacting these lives, that I know that later on or over the long run, at least they'll come back and say, Osinachi, because of this thing that you did or whatever has been going on, I'm able to turn out to this. So that's one thing you should also learn. It's not everything that you do that you actually get paid for. Just have that back of your mind that I'm doing it for community building, I'm doing it for impact. So now to the big one, Osinachi. I've been holding this one, but I just have to say it. The big one, Osinachi, you got to intern as a software engineer for a couple of months for a brand. One of the biggest crypto brands in Africa, Patricia Technologies. Like this was a very huge step, I must commend. But how did this happen? What happened? What led to this? And then what skills you also feel distinguished you for this internship, and how has the experience been like?
Okay, so From my last internship, the one with e-settlement limited, I wasn't interning with anyone from that time to when I got to Patricia. So from the time I was idle, like I was not officially working, I sought out many jobs and internships and got lots of rejections. So one thing prevalent in the software world is that if you do not have relevant work experience, nobody will look at you. No matter how much big things you build, although you could build big build things, you could build big things and get into big companies. But the easiest way to get noticed is to have actual work experience with a known company. So that was actually what I was trying to achieve, to get a good job or get a job that makes sense, so that I would have relevant work experience, so that my resume will make more sense. So that's why I sought out internships and jobs, and somehow, I think around February 2021, someone posted the links for Patricia internship on one tech group chat I was part of. So I decided to apply, like I've always been applying, and I got to the interview stage, got interviewed, and although they didn't reach out after the whole interview, I think later on they called for interns again, and I knew someone in the company that told me that they called for interns again. So I sent my resume, and I was able to get another interview and also landed the internship. So what skills did I have that distinguished me and helped me gain the internship? Well, basically, companies love it when you have relevant work experience. So I believe that the work experience I had with e-settlement was an important factor in getting the internship with Patricia. Also, basically that one, and maybe my other projects on GitHub. So, projects are important, but they're not as important as work experience. So I would actually commend eSettlement Limited for taking me and several other people with zero work experience to become interns. So they were the ones that would, like, say, sparked our software engineering path, or started or paved the way. So from there I moved on to Patricia, and there'll be other things ahead. So yeah, that's it for that.
Wow. So if there's one thing I've also learned, is that gaining work or relevant work experience, like, does more good for you when looking for a job in the labor market. So if you've not gotten any work experience, at least try. No matter how small it is, it still be very helpful in the future to come. So speaking of skills that distinguished you in the labor market, let's talk about CV building. I mean, the essence of it cannot be overemphasized. Many persons don't have a CV or resume, and aside not even having one, also knowing how to draft one peculiar to a job description is a major problem, because we all know that, CV, resume, or online presence is one that, can get you outside or get your works displayed. So what you're saying on this, and then how can we get to build a good CV? And not only that, one that can stand the test of time. It's not just about building a CV, like a very detailed CV, and one that can stand the test of time. Yes. So what's your say on that?
Right. So from what I know about applying for jobs, many people stress out, or many people stress on the unimportant parts of building a CV or writing a CV or a resume. So the most important part of your resume is your work experience. For most software jobs, they don't want to see you as a student. For, like, if you're applying for a student internship, maybe for your COS or something like that, you put your education background first, your GP, your CGPA, and all those sort of things. But for software roles, they don't care. They just want to see how much relevant work experience you have. So that's the most important part of your resume. Then the next most important part is your projects, the projects you've worked on, the hackathons you have been part of. What software have you built? How have you built it? So this is where you sell yourself. Like, let's see, some people do build things like Twitter clone, WhatsApp clone. Like they build the whole app end to end with similar functionality. So that's something you can brag about. So a company wants to be sure that you can handle their code, you can handle their product. So if you can show them you have done this, even if you don't have relevant work experience, it can help you move to the interview stage. Yeah. So building relevant CVs is more about you adding relevant work experience and good projects that are relevant to the job. So you don't want to be adding that you volunteered for Red Cross when you're applying for like a software role. Like it doesn't really relate. If you were applying for maybe an assistant nurse role, maybe that would make sense. But a software role, they want to see that you have maybe helped organize a technical conference, maybe as a volunteering experience, or you have won a hackathon, a globally recognized hackathon, or maybe you have built a very complex project, or you have written some very technical articles that got published on some important blogs. Yeah, so there are several important blogs. So things that are relevant, that are very relevant. But some people don't even get jobs by CVs. So let's keep CVs outside. In the software world, it's usually not about your resume, to be honest. So some jobs, they don't even care that you send a resume. They give you a project to deliver in a short time, and if you can deliver this project, they bring you to the next stage of the interview. So I think software engineering in general is freer with the whole resume or CV thing than other fields. So you can see someone who just maybe built a Gmail clone. You know the Gmail we use on the web. You can build the Gmail clone and market it properly, and a company can DM him and say, "Hey, we are looking for software engineers. Care to join our team?" And now the aspiring software engineer has options to choose which company he or she wants to work for. So that's the beauty of the field. And well, okay, now let me just talk about briefly on building relevant CVs that stand out. So for most jobs, they use something called AST. So these machines, they filter out resumes that don't match their description. So whatever you're writing, you should ensure that you write things that are relevant to the job. Okay, let's say you're applying for a front-end software engineer role. So you would want to add things like, in your skills section of the resume, you want to add things like React or whatever front-end framework you use. You want to add things like CSS and maybe JavaScript, APIs, those sort of things. Now, in your project section, you can say built an app that solved a startup's problem, or they call it what do you call it? Being very specific about your problem and showing numbers, showing the specific ways you did what you did. Let's say you led a team to win a hackathon. You can say led a team of 3 software engineers to win a global hackathon, which helped this company improve their products, or led a team of 2 software engineers and 1 designer to deliver a product that beats the company's product we're building, that will improve their customer experience by 50%. So adding the percentage or the level of impact you made will help you write better sentences for your resume. And for the work experience, you can say, let's say you were an intern at a company, you can say contributed to a team of senior software engineers to build a specific part of the code base which improved customer experience by 100%, something like that. So that's the way to spice up your CV and make it, or your resume, and make it make sense.
Wow, thank you so much, Osinachi. I mean, like, there's so much to learn. So, I mean, listeners, hope you have learned how to draft out your CV and make it stand out. I mean, and then stand the test of time. So, as a software engineer, what set of skill, or as a web developer, what set of skill can one acquire to help build his or her CV, particularly as a software engineer?
Okay, so I'm happy you chipped in web developer. So software engineering is actually very, very broad. It consists of it depends on even what software you're building. You can be working as a front end software engineer building front end interfaces for consumers. You can work as a back-end software engineer building things nobody ever sees but power whatever the front-end guys are doing. You can be a mobile engineer building mobile applications for people, and there are other fields that plug into the software engineering field. There are QA testers, there are DevOps engineers who ensure that websites and apps are always up and running. There are project managers and all those other things. But when we go, okay, I work as a front end software engineer. So the relevant skills as a front end software engineer or for any software engineer is actually problem solving. You need to know how to solve problems. You need to know how to move from here's what you need to build to this app. Okay, let's say you're working on a fintech app that needs to have a wallet feature. So if your project manager tells you to add a wallet feature to this app and gives you a design, you don't just go code it. You need to ask the relevant questions like, how best can we add this wallet? Should wallets display a negative value? Should wallets display what if the data type we're using exceeds what it's not enough to contain what wallets can have? Let's say you're using let's say a double. Okay, let me not get so specific, but you want to ensure that you ask the relevant questions that will help you solve the problem, will help you move from here's this feature you need to build to writing code that stands the test of time. So you don't just go approach a problem. You have to start from the drawing board and move up before you even write one piece of code. So that's one very relevant skill, relevant to all software engineers. Then for specific skills like front-end engineers need to know how to build single-page applications that are responsive using technologies like React, Vue, Angular. But most people just settle with React or Vue, but it doesn't really matter what you settle with. Whatever company you're joining might not even care what you already know. They might just give you a short time to learn the technologies they use. And most software engineers also know how to use consume REST APIs. Okay, most front-end software engineers know how to consume REST APIs, know how to style web pages beautifully. So the summary for front-end software engineers is know how to build web interfaces, know how to ensure that those interfaces you build are beautiful, and also know how to make them resilient, make them stand the test of time, so that someone doesn't come to your app and wants to send money and instead of sending 50 naira to their friend, they are sending null naira or undefined naira. You usually see that on Twitter, people laughing at software engineers of different apps where you have undefined instead of a value showing. So yeah, but there are other software engineering subfields like backend, where you need to know how to build web services and the rest of them. So if you want to learn more about this, you can just do a little research. What do front-end engineers need to know? What do back-end engineers need to know? Then you move up from there. I know many aspiring engineers ask, what path should I take? So there's a website that contains different learning paths for different skills. There's DevOps, there's front-end, there's back-end. So I would share the website with Nene, and she can put the link on the podcast description, or I can just put relevant links in one Notion document and share, so anyone interested can check it out.
Oh yeah, so if you're interested, if you're a software engineer or a web developer and you're interested in just what he said, links where you can get access to these skills or technical know-how, you can reach out to me as well. So I've just been hearing React, Angular React, Angular, API, APZ, web interface, this one, that one. I'm like, God, I don't know what he's talking about anyways, but it is all good. Well done once again, Osinachi. Thank you so much. So now, from interning as Patricia, you interned with them for like a couple of months, and then currently you're a staff at Patricia. So how was it transitioning? How did you get up to that point that you were retained as a staff at Patricia?
Okay, so I started my internship in July 2021, and I interned up till October 2021. So it was a 3-month internship. And I had lots of fun. I learned a lot of new things. I learned how to work with people, how to work with back-end engineers, other front-end engineers, how to give relevant reports, how to request for features. Then I think what I learned during the internship are the basic skills a staff should know. So if you notice, companies don't like hiring people that don't have experience. That's one universal thing everywhere. So the internship was a chance for people with no or little experience to come learn these skills in a supervised environment. And when they gain these skills, they are staff ready. So if they are staff ready, why won't the company retain them? So I think it's the basic idea. I was able to learn the skills necessary to become a full-time staff, and I was able to be retained and to continue on my role as a front-end engineer at Patricia.
Wow, wonderful. Thank you so much, Osinachi. So we have also learned that whatever or wherever you get to find yourself to work as, be it a campus ambassador or just an intern, always give your best, because it's only from there that they can see that, okay, you are staff ready, like he said, and they can retain you. So thank you so much, Osinachi, for answering that question. So let's talk about positioning yourself for brands outside there, either as a software engineer or as a creative in general or whatnot. How do you position yourself for brands out there? Be it developing skill sets, online presence, or outstanding skills, whatever the case may be. How do you position ourselves out there for brands? Thank you so much.
Okay, so basically you would want to participate in hackathons that those brands organize. So brands like Microsoft or Facebook or Twitter, they organize lots of hackathons, like a lot. You might not see them around, but they do. Microsoft in particular, Microsoft organizes Microsoft Build. Although it's not a hackathon, but they organize other hackathons like .NET hackathons. They do it a lot, and these hackathons are ways for you to build relevant software that these brands can even recognize and showcase on their websites. So that's one. Would I say it's one of the easiest way to get them to notice you. Another way is to basically participate in the programs they organize. So Microsoft, Google, Facebook, they organize lots of programs, like a lot. Google organizes a Get Ahead Africa, which I was fortunate to participate in this year. So the people that were able to network with Google engineers and able to ask relevant questions, I think they got noticed, and whenever they're applying for jobs at Google, they will be given some sort of preferential treatment. So that's it. Just participating in what they organize is one easy way to get noticed by brands, or maybe make your online presence better, because when a brand is backing you up, things get easier for you. Then also you could become an ambassador for one of these brands. Microsoft actually offers an ambassador product program, a global ambassador program, which many Nigerians are part of, and it's actually an easy way into Microsoft. It's an easier way than applying directly. Then there's also the Google Developer Student Club, which there's a team lead and the core members. So this sort of programs, this sort of organizations, you need to like join them or get to know them and participate actively so that you can move up the ramps. It's one easy, like let's say, it's the easiest way to get noticed, to network with the engineers or the staff that work at those companies, and maybe even get in if you eventually get so interested to work with them. So yeah, these are the basic ways to get noticed by a company. You could also solve a problem a company is facing. I've seen stories on Twitter where someone saw that this company maybe is facing a cause problem, a cause issue. There's one very, very prevalent issue called cause that every software system faces. So the guy solved the cause issue for a particular company, and they got impressed and they called him to join them. So something like that, or you could find a bug that they're experiencing and maybe fix the bug, find or maybe tell them a way they could fix the bug. Don't be surprised, not everybody knows everything. The engineers in those companies are similar to you. They know stuff, but they don't know everything, so they could need your help. So yeah, these are ways you can get around that.
Wow. So just know that the engineers in all those companies, they might not know everything. They know something, so they also need you to also know everything. Wow, that's one thing I also picked up from what he said. So aside the software guy, what other sides are there to Osinachi?
Okay, so I live with software, and there's not really much outside the whole software guy, but I love doing other things such as voiceover. So some people always comment that my voice is perfect for voiceover. So I'm not sure if that's true, but it's something I would love to maybe explore in the future. Or yeah, then I also aspire to become maybe a hobbyist photographer. I'm not yet set for that, but I'll probably get the gear sometime. Maybe not even normal hobbyist photography. Maybe I'll be using a drone to take pictures, aerial photography, those sort of things. Yeah, but right now I think I'm more on the building stage than the exploring stage. I've not yet achieved the level of, let's say, independence and automation that I would love to achieve before I go explore my many other interests, because there are many, but if I just start exploring them, it will be like imaginations or things that are not like I'm just fooling myself. Okay, I love art, I love design. If I just wake up tomorrow morning and start doing random designs and art, it's going to be I don't feel like it's, like, say, worth it. Although it's always nice to just do things that you don't actually have to show the world. So, well, I do write. I remember in 100 level I wrote an entire book on paper, like about a guy trying to discover himself and finding friends along the way, and encountering aliens, and it became so weird. It became sci-fi. So I don't know. I write. I love writing. I love creating comics. I've touched those things, but I want to be professional at these things. Maybe not professional to earn money from them, but actually create great content that people will enjoy. So area photography, writing, comics, voiceover, these are other parts of me that I would love to take as hobbies, not necessarily hard skills. Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much, Osinachi. Okay, so before we conclude, we're almost concluding this podcast or this episode. What's next for Osinachi? What should we look out for?
Yeah, so recently there's this hype about the metaverse and what it promises to achieve. Mark Zuckerberg and his company Facebook decided to rebrand themselves as Meta. So I feel this is a turning point in history, and I want to be part of this turning point. So I would love to explore the metaverse. I would love to explore how the metaverse can be used to solve, how we can solve problems within the metaverse in the real world. I will also love to explore blockchain technology, because I believe that's a very important technology that's going to change a lot about finance, a lot about healthcare, engineering, even. Many aspects of our lives. And I would love to become a productivity expert. I love productivity hacks. I love making things more efficient. So something like a productivity expert would be nice. And maybe in the future, I would love to maybe work as a machine learning engineer at Palantir. I think that has always been somewhere at the back of my mind, or somewhere at the side of my mind. So working as a machine learning engineer at Palantir is something I think I would love. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Osinachi. So, what's your inspiration, or who are your inspiration?
Okay, so I have several people that I admire and I look up to. One of them is Mark Zuckerberg. He is what I call a young builder that's not like he got lucky, but he was able to build things at the right time and the world recognized it, and he was able to market or sell what he built so well that it's now a global corporation and everybody knows him. So I really look up to Mark Zuckerberg, his vibe, the way he does things, the way he handles the many cases that are being thrown at him. Then another person I admire and inspires me a lot is Elon Musk. Okay, so I know this is kind of cliche because many people look up to Elon Musk, but yeah, Elon Musk is someone I have always been looking up to since my SS2, or was it SS1? Yeah, so he's someone that can just build a company out of a whim, and that's something I think is cool. Someone that can build a product out of a whim, someone who persists in the face of failure. I mean, he failed so many times to build SpaceX, but eventually became successful. So that I love that trait about Musk. And finally, Bill Gates. Bill Gates went from being the tech guy to becoming a philanthropist. I love what Gates is doing with the world right now. He's trying to save us from the doom of climate change and the whole COVID and coronavirus. So I like the way Gates is approaching these problems, and I must say it's actually very motivating and inspiring to me.
Wow, you have such great, role models to look up to: Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, and Elon Musk. Wonderful people and great people. So before we conclude this episode, what's your advice to young people out there, probably students still trying to define their whys, dot their I's, cross their T's, or still trying to define their whys and their whats? And also, what's your advice to emerging software engineers like you?
Okay, my advice to young people is explore your interest. Whatever you're interested in, explore it. And as you're exploring your interests, find better ways to improve them. Like, become obsessed with productivity. Let's say you are interested in you are interested in video creation, or let's say video editing. So don't just be a video editor. Maybe find out what video editing is from the first principle. Maybe think about better ways you can improve your workflow, and look for people with similar traits as you. I always had Samson Amugo as someone like that, someone who had the vibe for building great software, and he is an ex-intern at Microsoft and going to be a very, 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 very important software engineer in the future as we all grow. So someone like that has always been there to motivate me, to inspire me, to carry me along as we go in our software journey. So find someone like that you can hold on to. Then for emerging software engineers, I would say learn your data structures. That's very important. Learn your data structures and algorithms. It's going to give you a very good way to approach problem solving. learn communication, learn how to sell yourself, because if you go build the most complex software in the world that solves a very big problem and you don't tell anybody, nobody will know. So go sell yourself out there. Whatever thing you build that you feel is relevant enough, sell it. Tag companies, tag them and tell them I built this. Don't be afraid to do this, because many people feel like that imposter feeling comes and say, am I even what I built is even worth it? So sell it, sell whatever you build, and learn software engineering, learn the core of it, learn why things happen the way they happen. Don't just be the guy that is doing things that work. Learn why things work. Ask the why questions. I think the why questions are very important. So ask the why questions, and I think following that approach, you would be a world-class software engineer. Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much, Osinachi Victor Chukwujamah, for gracing this podcast. We are really excited to have you here. I mean, we are sure and we are very hopeful that the listeners have really gained a lot. I mean, like, there's so much to learn. Actually, those guys are really involved in the tech guys and the software emerging guys. So, you guys listen to this podcast, and there's so much to learn. Thank you so much, Osinachi Victor. It's a wrap now, guys. So, signing out right now. Bye.